Hi, I'm Kelly Roberts, Deal Flow Director at Dojo, an incubator for really early stage tech startups leveraging the power of blockchain. Today, we are doing some interviews with really some of our founders, founders who identify as being diverse and perhaps not the typical type of founder you would see starting a tech startup. And the reason we're doing this is we really want to showcase underrepresented founders. If you can't see it, you can't be it. Is the motto, and also just to bust some myths that every successful founder is in their 20s, especially tech founders. So today we're going to introduce Lena, who is one of our founders going through our current cohort, midway through the program. So really interested to hear about Lena's background, how she came to be a founder, and just to find out a bit more about her experiences in the world of tech.
Hi, so Lena, why don't we start at the beginning? Tell me a bit about your background, your career history. Really curious to hear what your journey was like to becoming a founder of a tech startup.
Hi, Kelly. So it's really a great pleasure to be at Dojo. So I was born in Belarus in the former USSR. At that time, the country was really poor, and I didn't have many people around me building businesses, especially startups. So I was born in Minsk. I attended a linguistic school. I studied two foreign languages, studied computer science and other sciences.
What happened after university?
So I studied at a linguistic university and I took marketing courses and management courses, but I always wanted to become an entrepreneur because my granddad was a village entrepreneur and he was doing all sorts of things in those times just to survive because the family didn't have a lot of money, and honestly we even had to stand in line in order to buy a pair of winter boots.
Wow.
Or had special coupons to buy 2 pairs of socks every month. We had no sugar, no sausage, no ketchup in the shops in those times, you can imagine. So I thought, well, one day I will grow up, I'll turn 18 and I'll start doing my micro business. So this is how I started my language school at home.
Oh, wow.
I earned some cash at 18 and I wanted to travel the world and to learn the cultures. And then I bought a ticket to Paris and this opened a whole area of cultures for me. So, and I thought, well, if I have a service to sell that and people need it, then I could probably expand. And I started working as a personal assistant to foreign consultants, learning cultures, learning business, being in the middle of business negotiations. And I thought, well, these people are the role models for me. This is how business should work according to the global standards. So I was a good listener at that time and I was thinking about my own business. And then I got my first job at a GSM operating company, and then I started looking for another job. And when I was 24, I was offered a really decent job, and I became head of Samsung Electronics in Belarus, head of the country office. And when I asked my Korean boss why they chose me, they said, well, there were 10 other men who wanted to take the position. And some of them had MBAs, some of them were educated in management and marketing, but we prefer to invest in talent. And this story came up to my mind when I decided to build my current startup, because I was so flattered, so pleased to get this position, and I invested a lot of money in my further education. So after that I studied at 3 British universities and did other degrees in marketing and management. So this stimulated me a lot, and I thought, well, if I can set up an office for a foreign company and be responsible for the whole country in the marketing dimension, so why don't I start my own business? So that was a trigger.
Absolutely. And was that your first foray in, there's 2 strands I'm interested in here. I think the first one is your first foray into tech, albeit hardware, presumably, rather than software. And the second is the soft skills angle, which is kind of connected to what you're doing now. Perhaps loosely, you got chosen for the job, not because of your MBA or some technical qualification, but they could see talent in you. And talent is quite a loose phrase, I think, and it's quite vague. And I think what's often meant by talent is the soft skills, not just your degree. So, if you could touch on those 2 things, really interested to hear more.
Yes, this is so true about the soft skills and personality traits. Actually, I don't have any technical education, so I'm a linguist by my first profession and marketing by the second profession as strategist. So I strongly believe that at present and in the near future, AI and robots will replace a lot of professions, and companies will be looking for talents, for people who are prone to learning something new, who have the right soft skills which are transferable, and who can migrate between different careers and be rotated within the same company and stay loyal and coachable and have brilliant communication skills and teamwork and skills. So this is the skill set that companies will be investing in. So this is my area of interest now, and I'm learning a lot on my journey.
Yeah, brilliant. And tell us a bit about Reputy, which is your company, and what solution are you proposing?
So Reputy is a wallet for soft skills. So it looks like an app that helps people to learn about their skills, because not all of us are aware of what empathy is, what agility is, what is critical thinking, how can you measure it, how can you capture it, validate it. So the app will help people to identify the soft skills, grow them, capture the moments in everyday life, and also validate by certain tools, by at least 4 different tools that I have on my roadmap. I won't tell you now. Still doing my research. So
confidential today.
Confidential information. Yes. So I'll have a card for every soft skill, and whenever you are applying for a job or asking for investment for your own company, or maybe looking for a lifetime partner, you can send a link
Love it.
to your profile, or you can add the link to your LinkedIn profile along with your hard skills, and the person can open every card and see some evidences of your public speaking skills or creative thinking skills. And the more events you generate, the more moments you capture, like for Instagram, but for a practical reason. So the more credibility you gain. So I'm trying to make it incorruptible, and try to reduce the opportunity of fake to the zero. So this is where blockchain helps us.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm keen to get your views. So in that situation where you were setting up, an office in Belarus, and you got chosen above 10 men because you had what they call talent, which is quite loosely put. That's a great example of some great recruiters seeing you and thinking, okay, you don't have the MBA or whatever, but we can see that you'd be fantastic at this job. Do you think that that's a common experience? Do you think, how do you think employers tend to pit soft skills against hard skills? What's your view or experience on how soft skills are viewed more generally, and how do you think that links to diversity? Sorry, it's about 3 questions in one there.
Yes, well, I think I've been in senior positions at other companies as well as head of marketing or marketing director, so I recruited a lot of people, and I also fired some people for different reasons. So every time I had a choice to recruit a person who is like the same as me or has the same perspective, and another person who is more diverse, who is of different age or comes from a different area or a different profession, different business sphere, I would opt out for the other person, because we need this diversity of viewpoints, perspectives. It's not about the skin color or about the country of origin. It's about the way people think. So I'm a big evangelist of meritocracy, and I truly believe that every person has to have a chance to contribute their talent to the world's progress. Here's where Reputy helps to unlock the global talent pool. So talking about soft skills, they are really hard to identify. Sometimes you feel there's chemistry between you, or you really empathize with someone and you have a gut feeling. You make a few tests, you ask about the person's history and other circumstances where these skills were revealed, and you just watch the body language and the mimicry, and you understand whether the person is faking the experience or telling the truth, whether he or she is being authentic in the situation, even blushing or feeling embarrassed. That means he doesn't know the answer, but maybe he's thinking hard and he's not disguising this situation. So I really love working with honest people who can admit their mistakes or learn from not knowing something. So really coachable people.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Yeah. Thank you. My experience, I think, in work is they kind of go, oh, we want these technical skills, and they go, and maybe some soft skills, and actually someone can do the job technically, but if you're going to progress in a career, it often ends up meaning managing people, managing teams, managing stakeholders, relationships, and if you've only got the technical skills and you're not so good at the soft skills, you can't really progress. I think it becomes more challenging. I think the soft skills become more important the higher up you get personally, and for sort of even more crucial, especially if you're dealing with people.
Yes, absolutely. And the world statistics and reports by Deloitte, via LinkedIn, and other companies show that recruiters prefer to gauge soft skills on par with their hard skills. So more than 90% of recruiters prefer to learn about the personality and not the hard skills. And this figure is growing every year. So we come as human beings. And I'd like my app to be a space where a person could express him or herself, and to treat it as a third dimension, added to the plain CV, where we have only 1 or 2 lines about our personality, saying that I'm generally a kind, communicative person, which means nothing and which is proved by nobody.
Yeah.
So being as we are and evolving and just presenting our beautiful personalities along with our diplomas, which is essential for people with almost zero working history, like graduates, for example, or migrants.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really great point. I'm really keen, sort of, I guess, jumping on a bit, I'm keen to understand how you might consider yourself diverse. You were talking about diverse perspectives and bringing diverse perspectives to a team that you sort of form. How would you consider yourself to be diverse, and what do you think are the diverse perspectives you bring, particularly in the world of tech and blockchain?
Right. So before this word diversity appeared, I didn't really think about it because I was brought up in a male environment and I was working among men all my life, so I don't feel unequal. But when I joined the blockchain community, I really saw a lot of men. But I take it really easy. I think blockchain started as a gated community of developers who were speaking their crypto lingo, creating these firewalls for other non-tech people. But now I see a whole array of projects founded by women, especially supporting other women, educational projects, and they speak normal language. They speak about the utilities for the real world. And maybe it's because women are less, are more risk averse. We don't like to risk. We don't like the brown waters, uncertainty, fraud, rug pulls and Ponzi schemes, so we don't want to deal with it. We're about humans, we are more like transparent, kind and caring. That's why there was a blood wall between blockchain and women, but I see a lot of women coming into space and they bring a lot of good as product owners or venture architects because they can understand the pains better than men. We have this natural gift to understand people, to empathize. So this is the space where we can leverage our femininity and these specific skills, understanding what people really need, and then addressing the technology and choosing the right tools to build this solution. So we start from the real world, not the other way around, because blockchain is hype and everybody wants to be there and to build some pyramids or invent new currencies or NFTs. So I think women will practice this. We'll use their soft skills, actually, to build the best projects on blockchain.
And I agree. I think I've had so many networking events, and often the guys will have a story of I've been trading in crypto and I made 100,000, then I lost 100,000, and it's like, okay, well, that's really great. You're making lots of money or losing lots of money, which makes for some more interesting war stories as to how you went through that. But yeah, as you say, often women will say, I really want to solve this problem in society or in this community. And they're building products and services and businesses for the real world. So yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, so that's about the gender dimension, but there are also people who didn't have access to learning the technology at schools. So in some countries, you don't have this subject at school. Whereas 30 years ago, when I was at school, in a Soviet school, we learned computer science. So I could write a line of code in Quick Basic at those times.
Yeah.
And I understood the algorithms and how the language works. So it's something normal 30 years ago, whereas now I see that not every school has computer science. In the UK, for example, I don't know about other countries. That's why we have a lot of talent in Ukraine, where I used to live for 13 years. Ukraine, Belarus, Poland, because the education is focused on sciences and algorithmic thinking. We don't have religion, for example, or art. So we are learning it ourselves, but we do have sciences.
That sounds really interesting.
And this creates a barrier because it's not your fault if the school didn't give you this knowledge, really.
It's not. And you touched on something really interesting about how the soft skills enables you to shift careers. And I think blockchain and the world in general is moving so fast. I think training in one area and then not being able to adapt quickly or keep up with how it's evolving or not having the skills to is really going to hinder progress of a society. So and I think one of the things with you, I think I noticed very early on, was that you seem to be very much a self-starter when it comes to your learning. You seem like an avid learner. You're always learning, because you were the first to do our theory of Bitcoin course.
Oh, really?
yeah. I was like super impressed. So you seem to have a really healthy attitude to learning, and do you think that's part of your getting you to this place as a founder?
Yes, I'm a lifelong learner. Maybe it's because of my curiosity and future thinking, and I also love understanding and learning new systems. And systems thinking is one of the transferable skills. So I used to change my professions, and I used to attend a music school. I created an architectural design and interior design for my own hospitality business. So I understand architecture as a system. I did some natural studies. I did some sports, languages, maths, really complicated maths. And now I'm learning blockchain. So I think the curiosity is the key driver, and the desire to build impact businesses. So I call myself an impact entrepreneur. I really want to be one. So I'm not going to create another project that looks like 10 other projects. I want to disrupt the system in a positive way. And in order to do this, I need to understand the system, how it works, where the flaws are, whether I can learn something from other systems and combine best practice from different industries. So this is how my brain works, but this is the only thing I can say why I'm a lifelong learner.
That's fascinating. I was about the systems. I was listening to a podcast about capitalism and humans, and how humans are ultra social creatures, and our closest comparison in life on Earth is ant colonies, because they can do division of labour, and humans division of labour, and that's kind of a key component of capitalism. And I just found that absolutely fascinating, that someone had studied ecology and was able to apply those learnings to lessons in capitalism. So I completely think systems thinking is fascinating, and then also being a polymath, isn't it? If you're an expert in many different areas, would you consider yourself a polymath?
No, not yet. I'm not an expert. I'm a generalist. I'm just curious. There's a flip side of systems thinking. Sometimes people become really conditioned by a certain system, by a religion or sports or certain music style or blockchain, or some people prefer to create smart contracts on Solidity only, and they wouldn't look around and learn new things because they are silent. So I think the more things you learn, the more open you are to using all the tools that the world can offer.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's a combination of systems thinking and critical thinking and creative thinking. So you need to understand how to disrupt any system,
Yeah.
how to make an intrusion and to make it better.
Yeah, and your product through Reputy, the app, will help enable employers to see who has those skills, those ways of thinking. And yeah, so I'm really excited to see what you build by the end of the program. But yeah,
It's a journey.
yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So yeah, I think I've just got a couple more questions, and I think one of those is. What advice would you give to any other kind of aspiring entrepreneurs, who might look at you and think, oh, how did you get to this place? What kind of motivates you? What advice would you give to them?
Oh, just look around.
Yeah.
The thing that helped me to understand different businesses better was mentorship, actually.
Okay.
For my friends, for a couple of other incubators, especially for creative people. And I also spent 7 years in marketing consultancy, working with about 50 companies from different areas.
Wow.
So I learned a little bit about oil, logistics, furniture, fashion design, sustainable businesses, medical businesses. So this is how you understand people, environments, business models. So just being inquisitive, learning a lot, and then you capture your own idea and you start building something. And I would advise myself to be more bold when I was younger, because I was brought up, or I was born maybe as a shy person, like somebody quite clever, but sitting in the corner, an introvert, without having the courage to go on the stage and share your opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it was
training.
interesting, wasn't it? I think about when Alex, our program director, asked, for the current cohort to put their hands up and say, are you an introvert or an extrovert? I think it was like 8 out of 10 companies, or 80% said they were introverts.
Yes.
So yeah, the whole theory of you need to be a brash sort of business person is not true. And I think many of the greatest technological innovations have come from introverts who are working on things on their own. And yeah, so. Okay.
Yes. And we do need somebody to amplify our voices, like mentors, for example, to bring confidence. Or business partners or friends who say, you're on the right way, just do it, just spotting the light on the right things, and
yeah, definitely.
leveraging you.
And I guess last question would be, have you sort of had to deal with any discrimination throughout your career, and how did you deal with it? And what would your advice be to your younger self, I guess?
Well, I haven't really, because I've been headhunted a couple of times. And I didn't experience the glass ceilings then, because I got this really high position when I was young, and then it was easy afterwards. It was hard for me to come to the UK from Ukraine, and I was looking for jobs, and I felt like I'm a stranger here. I really needed to work hard to present myself with my accent, with my non-British background. So I wouldn't call it discrimination. I would call it a lesson and experience for myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the exact reasons why I didn't pass through all the stages. But then I thought, well, I'm an entrepreneur inside myself. I had a few businesses before, so why don't I keep applying for incubators? Because I really want to build. And I can recruit people. I will be really fair and kind to them and create thriving environment for their personal growth. So that was my choice again. Maybe I needed to go through this path and through this series of no's and rejections in order to come here to Block Dojo and start building something.
Yeah. Well, I like that, because what's that saying? If you create space, if there isn't a seat at the table, create your own table. Which is what you're doing.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. So
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. Do you have any lasting comments you want to make? Or
Thank you very much for creating this program at Block Dojo, and I feel that the whole team is very much involved and engaged in our projects. I feel so much support. Being a solo founder, I don't have anyone to talk in the evening about the project, about the team or the mentors we joined recently. So feel really empowered here.
Yeah, fantastic. It's really good to hear, and we're so happy to have you on board with so much experience. And yeah, it's so much experience and knowledge. Yeah, you're a fantastic addition to the dojo. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.